Howdy, y'all. Don't have a full phone today. Oh, let's make sure we get this in here. Howdy, y'all. Steph. I can make sure that I am free on Thursday. Yeah. I'm live because I'm alive. Bolts in my neck and everything. I wanted to darken the pipe up. And two ways that I know how. One is to go back and re-dye it black and start over. And I'm not doing that. Okay, so Friday's not a good idea, but Thursday is. It's fine. I'm good with that. Didn't you just unload in the rain and just love every second of it? Oh. Okay, because I don't have a lacquer coating, every place that I'm touching it right now is going to absorb a little bit of oil. And as the heat comes through, it should darken it up just a little bit. Maybe a lot, but at least a little bit. And when I was sanding, I ended up with two colors. If you watch real careful, that's kind of a reddish, and then right about here, that reddish layer stops and it kicks to a lighter yellow, and it comes through much more of a yellow over here on this side. And I got to the point where sanding it and it started coming back up pink in certain places, telling me that I was starting to scrape briar. And also some of it started coming up black, which means I was also starting to take off the stuff that I was going to keep black. So with that in mind, I took out my little boiling water pot and I took out a Yeti and a pipe cleaner. In fact, that's the shape I used on the pipe cleaner to keep it off the side of the Yeti. I just used this little clip right here piece to directly into the side of the Yeti, and it kept it into the middle of the cup as I poured boiling water on top of it. You'll remember this stem was absolutely 100% straight. I didn't want it straight, I wanted it bent. So I bent it. It took 2 shots. I had to boil and pour the first time, and I got it to bend a little bit, probably about a little more than half of what it is right now. And then I plopped it back in the cup and poured all the water back into that boiler and lit it up again and got the second. But now I started with this being super clean and the pipe cleaner being clean and the water being fresh out the tap. So there was no worry about me messing up my little coffee boiling system. All I needed to do was boil it, bend it, set it back in the water. Now when I set it back in the water, it actually went back to straight. And I was a little worried, but I could bend it quite a bit farther on the second shot. And I think the overall bend there really came out. You got to remember, if you're going to bend, put a damn pipe cleaner in it, because if you don't put a pipe cleaner in it, you can end up collapsing the airway, and you're never going to get a good draw if you collapse the airway. Also, if you have found that your bit has a specific way that it sets more correctly in your pipe, make sure to mark that some way, shape, or form when you start doing your bending. Because if you bend it the wrong way, you're going to end up with this pointing up instead of back. And yeah, you're going to be lighting your nose on fire trying to smoke it. But hey, you can take any piece of advice you want to. I watched people do it and I said, you know what? I better make the effort ahead of time to make sure that I'm bending it the right way the first time. And yeah, I'm really happy that I thought about it a lot before I just decided, what the hell, let's just throw it in there and bend it. Can make for some real interesting situations there. By the way, I still have to shine this up in some way, shape, or form. I've heard Jeweler's Rouge and some sort of something or other. James, how's it going, James? Oh heck, I don't know. Is it afternoon? Yeah, it's 1:15 here. Woo! Which means it's 12:15 Mountain Time, but it is still morning where James is. I'm not saying where that is, but it's still morning. All right, so anyways, yes, this is the completed pipe. I have stuffed it full of tobacco for its initial burn. I'm not going to prove to you that this is the first time I've ever going to burn it, but trust me, or don't trust me, I don't care. You don't have to believe me, I don't care. The people who are going to follow along on this channel, for the most part, I'm just going to guarantee this. Most of them have been following me as I've been making this pipe, and I've got a cat wanting out. Well, come on. No, the cat wants me to come in. He probably wants me to come in, go all the way through the house, and let him out the back door so he can chase possums. Got two big freaking possums. So yes, I did bend the stem. Again, I made sure to definitely, I don't know if you can hear this or not, but it's scratch, 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 scratch. Then come on, fat cat. And yes, I do call him Fat Cat, and Trump, and Tigger, and Mr. Sassy Pants, and a few other names. He doesn't mind, as long as I'm good and quick with the cookies, the door, and the brush. So, literally, easiest way I found, if you're going to be using a kit, now, acrylic is going to take a little bit more effort. You're going to have to do this same process several times to go with acrylic, from what I understand. But you get a pipe cleaner, insert it into your pipe stem, figure out which side, which direction you're bending it. I had it like this, and I knew that this portion was down. So I didn't have to remove this while bending it. I took it. Cool stuff. I will, well, you know, going to be right here on the phone. Somewhere I'm going to be right here. So y'all take care, be careful, and yeah, we will see you sometime before Thursday. I think we could probably do a tailgate for Mike if you want to, but there's no real necessary reason to do that. So whatever's comfortable, we'll figure that out as we go. All right, talk to you later. Be careful. So I took this stem, put it in a Yeti, poured boiling water over it until it was fully submerged. Howdy, Boris. Well, I am not sure how to say his name, but if y'all are smoking D4s, you're doing well, sir. And Boris, thanks for tuning in while you have company. Oh, and scotch with it. God. I'm not sure if you're bragging or showing off or just wanting to smack me in the head or just being friendly. I'm going to say it's just being friendly. I'm not supposed to be drinking Coca-Cola because I'm supposed to be more white. I mean, I'm not supposed to be so white. That's right. Give me my grape Kool-Aid, damn it. Anyways, that might have sounded a little racist. I don't care. Coca-Cola, try not to be more white, or try not to be so white. Stupid. Stupid. If they knew what it takes for my wife to get a tan, they'd probably have to shoot themselves. She can't. So anyways, I am going to light this pipe. No, it is not finished. And by finished, I mean I have not put a shellac on it, and I have not buffed it to a mirror shine yet. But again, I wanted this coating to darken a little bit. I'm happy-ish with where it is, but it's my pipe and I don't want it to stay that light. So I made the conscious effort Yes, sir, Boris. I do agree with you. I am normally smoking cigars. If I can get them, I can smoke them, and I agree with you. But it's the cigars you're smoking, my friend. It's the cigars you're smoking. I can't get those on a regular basis. But that's all right. It's all right. I'm not judging. Well, I will say that it draws mighty well. And it still tastes unbroken in. And I've still got a lot to learn about how much I should shave that button so that it's more comfortable. Now, unlike some who are, I have to break it in with this type of pipe tobacco, I don't have that restriction. So far, there is zero heat, but this is an extremely thick walled pipe. I don't expect there to be very much heat. Plus, I mean, I just barely got to start it, so if it's already hot, there's a problem. Not a problem, Boris. I understand completely. Y'all have a great time, and well, tell your friend I said howdy, because if I happen to ever be over there, we might go see him anyways. And y'all take care. I know it's going to be cold as heck over there in Finland, so yeah, taking care is a good thing. So I'm not surprised that the taste is off. Again, first puffs ever on this pipe. And the whole reasoning behind taking those puffs instead of finishing it first. Now, if I ever get into actually making pipes, yes, I do understand. I can't just smoke somebody else's pipe. If I really get into making pipes, they're not getting this pipe. It is a sitter. I can prove that. If it wasn't a sitter, it would have fallen over by now. So, anyways, this morning I sanded it all down to the point where I was no longer getting yellow. Oh, definitely, James, definitely. I sometimes wonder how it felt for you that first time you lit the Mohawk. Love that pipe. That's awesome. Okay, so I do feel just a tiny little bit of heat if I'm pressing right at the closest spots. And by tiniest bits of heat, what I mean is, look, I was a boiler inspector. I'm going to be able to tell that there's heat. I spent a long time learning how to tell how much heat without actually having to get out all the damn tools. I'm just happy that it turned out as pretty as it did after I found this crevice of a sand pit on this side, and especially this freaking pit over here. Now here's part of the reason why I'm not finishing first. That pit. Should this pit decide it's going to boil out or whatever, I want it to be now before I go any farther. There was nothing I could do about this sand pit. It was huge, and it went straight at the side of the bowl, right near the bottom, but high enough up that it's going to be a weak spot no matter what I did. If the epoxy doesn't hold and it burns out on this first shot, well, okay. Damn it, I know. But I could probably fill that in with some pipe mud and pack it in again with some more pipe mud. Figure out a way to put a patch on it that won't come off. Well, if you look, this one also had a weird section of a sand pit right here. That one black line is actually a sand pit. And you can see where some of the nodules were right here along the side of the bowl. I didn't want to go any closer than that. And I felt kind of okay about leaving them. Of course, I knew that I was going to have all of this bird's eye right through here also. And y'all are about to hear barking squirrels because my cat, the fat one, is out here chasing squirrels. I don't know if it'll gurgle. I expect it to gurgle on the first, because until it gets a good carbon layer, it normally will try to just adhere to all that. And no, I never say that a pipe smokes great on its first smoke. Second and third, sure, but first one, no. And it is picking up some moisture, don't worry. I was aware that it was going to. And I think I'm going to improve the mouthpiece a little bit, where it's right here in the button. Not necessarily slot it, but make it less ugly. I think I can do that. Now, I'll tell you right now, if it actually burns out right here on this first smoke, y'all are going to see a grown man cry. I've spent more than a week trying to work on this thing. Carving with a knife, filing, sanding, filing, sanding, dyeing, sanding, dyeing again, sanding again, bending the stem. Barking squirrels are chasing my cat away. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm going to actually cry, but I will be a little heartbroken. It's like watching your kid take its first steps. It's like signing for your first mortgage. Hell, your hand starts cramping before you're done. Anybody who doesn't believe me hasn't signed an actual mortgage yet. And you're only going to write your name. Good luck, generation, whatever this is that can't write cursive anymore. Sign your name on this line. How do I do that? I have yet to see a bank take block letters for a mortgage. I don't know, maybe a few of y'all are going to learn some like outlandish calligraphy. Then I might actually almost feel really bad for you because your hand's really going to hurt if you ever sign a mortgage. E-sign, yeah. They better hope. Us boomers are living longer and longer, and we ain't just giving up our stuff. That's right, they call me a boomer. As in baby boomer? Whatever. They have no freaking clue. I got a kid older than most of these kids that are calling me boomer. I guess I'm a Generation Xer also. Let's see, baby boomers should have been born in the 50s, which was the generation that was right after World War II, when the world came back from war and they decided that the first things that they were going to do was have sex and buy houses and cars. Howdy, TX. Glad to see you're here. Oh, God. No, I'm pretty sure that snowflakes just denotes any person that as soon as things get just a slight bit hot, they melt like a snowflake. So I'm pretty certain that that's not a generational thing, that's just an aptitude thing. Wait a second, wasn't Zodiac over in San Francisco? Or was that Los Angeles? Oh yeah. See now, look. I will be honest. I got family that believe in both sides. Of course. Who else? What other zodiac are we talking about here? I know it was California. I know it wasn't Oakland. Oakland would have killed the Zodiac killer. They don't play around in Oakland. I'm telling you, this thing smokes great, but it is a water catcher. Don't know if y'all can see that. Didn't take much. I might have to figure out some way to. I don't know. I might have to drill like a moisture tap into this thing. I got meat left. I can do that. Oakland can get worse. Oh, I believe me, I know Oakland can get worse. Now, do I believe Facebook? As soon as they hand me all their money, I will. Not just some of it, all of it. No, I do not believe any single media source, period. Nor do I believe that listening to a media source means that you know all the facts. Yeah, I might have to work with smoking this while sitting around with a fuzzy cleaner. Oh, in case anybody's wondering, I use 800 grit from 3M, wet or dry. And when I tell you that I took a bunch of yellow off, I mean I took a bunch of yellow off. So this thing is smooth as glass. Except for the spots where I left it rough on purpose. Yeah, I've never believed the media, not since I was a very, very small child. Newspapers ruined my media ever believing in them days. So that was a done deal when I was 5. Yeah, I think I'm going to go and get some 3000. But I knew I was going to do this smoke first. So it didn't make much sense to go to 3000 at this point. Let the natural grain of what's there absorb the oil. Because when I sand back to $3,000, I know that it's going to be taking a little bit of that. And I didn't want to get too aggressive until I was ready to put the well, I'm planning on putting a very thin clear shellac on it just so that it will quit absorbing oil, at least after the first smoke. And yes, I'm rubbing all over it right now because I know this is the only shot that I'm going to have to really get that oil on here and let it do what it does as it burns in, which will be, it will darken up the wood. And that should bring out some more of the that should bring out a little bit more of the bird's eye. I mean, should be what happens is it darkens the bird's eye. Should give it that nice, it's older than hell look. Yeah, it's got that definite old world feel about it. Like it's been beat on and smacked around, and these are just kind of the way things have happened. The stamping came out pretty nice. That is a VRX21, though the one did kind of stamp a little deep. VR, of course, because Voodoo Review. Okay, so you're making a pipe for a niece, and you're going to try to make it look like a flower. That seems very adventurous. Howdy, Jose. Jose, I'm smoking my pipe. Bent the stem this morning and sanded it down. I'm just trying to get it to darken just a little bit, so that the next stage is when I put a thin layer of shellac on it. And once the shellac is on, then the only thing left to do is to buff it down again with some Carnauba wax. I found that there's a lot of pipe makers out there, though, that have they just wax right over the dies, and then people have said that the dye and the wax comes off in their hand, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want that. I want to see if I can avoid that. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. It is definitely going to be a one of a kind. I do not expect to see very many people with the teacup hammer wackadoodle pipe like this. And quite honestly, and no, this is not so that I can try and keep the uniqueness of it all to myself. This is because of what I've learned. Don't do this. It was hard. It is a mistake. Don't do it. Holy crap, is it hard to do this pipe. Sanding it alone with all of these crazy surfaces. Hard. Filing it without tearing off someplace that you don't want to. Hard. All the extra little crazy, stupid things that I did just so that I could learn. Hard. If this is your first pipe, you're crazy. Or you're me. And that means you're crazy. Yeah, kinda. I can see that, yeah. It looks similaritions to the colors that you would find in the average cob. But you will not find look at all that bird's eye. Now you will find stuff like that. It will look like that. I promise. They almost match. Good eye, Jose, good eye. Y'all just wait until I get my next corn cob and I dye it black. I've got everything I need to dye a pipe black. I bet you I can dye a corn cob blacker than, well, blacker than Chad's. The pipe's name is VRX21. I decided that I am not going to sit there and truly call it a name. Still working or still moving, that is. We're curious. And James, if you got to go because you're busy, don't feel bad. You don't feel like just because I'm on, you got to stay. It's no big deal. the coffee mug. It does have that look. The hammer. Because from this angle, it does kind of resemble a hammer. Q*bert. Because if you see it and you remember the Q*bert games, you'll remember that little stupid thing that would bounce around with the little two legs and the squished looking face. And no, I'm not going to add KS onto any of my pipes. In fact, y'all should just all be aware that almost any pipe that I ever make is going to be pretty close to being a KS anyways, standing for king size, because I am one of those that really, really likes a good long smoke. $1 million question: how does it smoke? As of so far, it smokes great, but it is a water trap right now. Oh yeah, if your back is wrecked, definitely sit down. My back will always be permanently a little bit tweaked. Back and knees are going to hurt for the rest of my life, and I know it. Mostly because I was dumb and strong and able to do anything I wanted to for as long as I wanted to, and then when my body said I couldn't do it no more, yeah, it kind of stopped all at once. I could probably go back into the VA and see if I couldn't get like a small percentage of disability. Problem is, there's people who actually need that. And I don't feel right about taking it. Ooh, yeah, see, you blew the lower disc out. Mine was jumping out of airplanes. Crazy enough, most normal people, they jump out of airplanes. Okay, great. Then you get these guys who are airborne or military that jump out of airplanes, and they jump out with this pack full of stuff and a firearm and a bunch of extra stuff, and it weighs a ton, and 9 times out of 10 all of them have, well, shit, 10 out of 10 all of them have knee and back problems. And because I was 52 Delta, man, I walked out with a freaking toolkit too. Some tools, they don't leave on the equipment that you're chasing. You got to carry it with you. Luckily, I was really, really light when I was in, so I could carry like a whole bunch of extra tools before I reached the weight limit of the chute. Tampers are cool. I've been really, really lazy with tampers as far as the ones that I make. What I do is I reach into a big old bucket of 4-inch deck screws and I pull one out. See, that would be cool. Arayan tree. I don't know if those are toxic. You might want to look that up before you decide that that's really what you're going to do. You got to remember, some trees when they get heated, they will produce an off gas, which could be toxic. Something to check up on. I know that mango wood is orange also. Now, Arayan, I have heard that it makes beautiful furniture and such like that. But again, you're not actually supposed to be chewing on your chair. Or slightly catching it on fire on a regular basis. But I think you got something there, especially if you can get the wood easy. Like here in the Houston area, it would take me forever to get that wood. Go for it, Jose. You would be surprised at how soothing it is to just create something. Yeah, I think I've always liked creating things because I was always really good at destroying things. And it kind of keeps the life in balance where if I have to destroy something, I can. But I can create just as much as I destroy. Are you sure that's not Aryan tree? If that's an Aryan tree, is it supposed to have swastika and wear a white hat with little eye holes poked out of it? Jose, I'm just playing with you now. I'm just playing with you. That was completely a joke. The human condition. Yeah. Unfortunately, my human condition is that I'm probably crazy. Oh, you draw. See, I cannot draw. I try to draw. I can sketch, like blueprint type sketching, but to draw something, oh God. I could make a teenage girl look like a 60-year-old. I will always put the wrong marks in the wrong spots, and it will be horrible. No, I'm actually going to look up how to pronounce that specific tree specifically, so that it doesn't somehow, in some way, shape, or form, sound like Aryan. And if you look up the word Aryan, that was the one that Hitler was calling the Aryan race, the master race, goose stepping and your stupid salutes and hating anybody that wasn't ultra white and hating the Jews. Now look, if you got reasons to dislike Jews, I'm betting you only have reason to dislike 2 or 3 Jews. You don't have a reason to hate the whole race. Same thing with black people and brown people and green people and blue people and purple people. Jesus. You could go on and on and on. And I guarantee there's reason to hate white people. First time selling your art, nice. Very nice. Stippling, that's where you do all the little dots, right? At least I think it is. I took a couple of art courses. I'm not completely stupid. I'm just not very bright when it comes to art. Now you can use those stippling, the random dots, and I've seen some artwork done with it that was just phenomenal. Faces and things, and then when you get like right up to it, you see that it's just billions of little dots all over the place. And due to spacing or how close together, or actually them actually truly being together, you would get shading and lines and angles and stuff, and it's just like, good Lord. I am not patient enough for that. Plus, I have to be close to see because, well, I'm blind. So for me to do something up close and then I have to back off far enough to see it, and it's just not the kind of art that I'm going to be good with. But actually, I'm really an artist when it comes to knitting. Yes, I said that out loud. No, you're not going to get me to be ashamed of it. Fisher King birds. Wonder if they are Grail diaries. I do know what Fisher King birds look like, though. And they're actually pretty birds. Like some of the ones that really, really kind of get me right now are they're the hanging things where they've got things suspended in a certain space, and viewed from one way it'll be like animals, and then viewed from another way it's firearms or something like that. And people think that that's all that I've got, but I'm amazed that people can take the time to figure out exactly how close and how far to place each and every little piece that's in there so that it will really make two images. It'd be a very good idea, Jose. Um, hey, if you can draw, you can draw. What's the worst that can happen? Somebody else says, hey, can you draw me a... and you negotiate a price with them. You know, I sat here with James, and we discussed if you were actually going to sell a pipe that is made by a kit and how much you would sell it for. Not that I would try to make some business of just carving kits. But if I'm just trying to carve kits long enough to make enough money to get better tools so I can do a better job, so I can continue to grow and progress. But in the meantime, while I'm working on those tools, I'm also carving more pipes so that I stay in the habit. I could see turning them out for, roughly $50, something like that. Wouldn't be crazy. Fisher King smoking the hammer pipe. I mean, I'm into art, but come on. Save your money, Jose. That's an awesome idea, though. Kirk from Florida. Howdy, brother. Doing well, smoking my one-of-a-kind, carved by me pipe for the very first time. Are you through with the doctors for right now, Kirk, or are you still in and out of the damn hospital? Hard to say, Jose. Hard to say. If I had to just immediately pick what my favorite bird of all time would definitely be the bald eagle. But that's because, well, hey, you know what? I'm American. But if not that, then the mockingbird. Well, because I'm Texan. Having a problem with your left leg, getting a little numb. That is not good, sir. But it's better than your left arm. Left arm could mean heart attack. But yeah, sciatica could be a pinched nerve in your back somewhere. Hard to say. And I am not a doctor, so I'm not going to try and figure that part out at this point in time. Because I got a feeling that I'm going to diagnose it wrong. Well, mockingbirds are mean. You got a problem with diabetes. Well, hopefully you don't end up with that diabetes nerve damage that really makes it so you can't feel your feet and your toes or anything. My dad's got a little bit of that. True, Dingus. Any chest pain could be a heart attack, but on men mostly, anyways. If your left arm suddenly goes numb and starts tingling, it's very possible that it is a heart attack. My mom was a nurse. These are some of the things that I got to learn way earlier than most people. And I wanted to be a doctor growing up, and then I found out that I can't be around people who throw up without throwing up my own self. And that ended my doctor career. Thankfully, I wasn't out of high school at the time. I mean, talk about good timing. Before I put all that effort into having super grades and straight A's and all of the extra time I would have had to spend with school, to find out that I'm just not cut out for it way early. Ugh. Nope, this is not a Coke Zero. This full strength Coke. But warm, because I don't like it when the ice cubes get stuck up my nose. Actually, I allow myself to have a couple of carbonated beverages per week, but I do keep them small. You will see that it says 12 fluid ounces. It doesn't say 16 or 24. It's a pretty small bottle. So I keep it down. The serving sizes, I don't go real big on there. I probably shouldn't even do that, because these will affect my kidney stones. But when I'm needing something, and that's Old Dark Fired and a Bulldog. Now that sounds right up my alley. Except for the Old Dark Fired. Or the Bulldog that I don't own. How about tobacco in a pipe? Smoking. That sounds right up my alley. Sorry, Kirk. I had to put it out there. Sounds good, though. Sounds real good. Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if a heart attack feels worse than a kidney stone. I have heard that kidney stones actually feel worse, but I wouldn't want to put this to the test with anybody, and I'm not going to sit there and say I'm bigger and badder than you because I've had 3 kidney stones and you've only had 1 heart attack. No. Kidney stones won't kill you. They'll just make you wish you could die. Heart attacks will actually kill you. One's extremely painful, one's extremely deadly. I think if I had to choose between a heart attack or a kidney stone, I would still choose the kidney stone, but I'm telling you right now, I would prefer neither. Because, hey, let's be honest. I have no intentions of dying anytime soon. And I don't want another kidney stone ever. But yeah, between near death and surefire pain, I'll take surefire pain over near death. I'm not trying to die, but I will very much guarantee you, now Voodoo Queen is definitely right up my alley. It's the blend I was reviewing on Twitter when I kind of used my little version of humor and said something about, hey, but that's not this. This is a voodoo review. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to keep that. And then Phil was bugging me about I should do a blog or a vlog or whatever it is. And he kept bugging me about it, so I finally buckled under and said, all right. But because I'm abrasive like 20 grit butt wipe, I don't have a bunch of followers. And that's okay with me. I expected that. And I agree with you, Kirk. Everybody should smoke what they like or what they have. Sometimes I smoke stuff I don't like because I'm trying to do a review. I do have y'all, and I am very appreciative of the ones that show up and enjoy spending some time with me. Believe me, I am appreciative. But I knew I wasn't going to be making anywhere near 1,000 followers. I'm not that kind of channel. I don't need to be that kind of channel. Alright, it might have been fun. But it doesn't hurt my feelings if people are like, that guy's a little bit of an asshole. You're right. I told my wife that when she first met me. My wife and I went gun shopping the other day. For her. She picked out 2 good ones.
Why did you not hold her?
You've heard about Voodoo Queen? Well, I will tell you, I like Voodoo Queen. Sutliff blend. Damn good. But it's got a weird texture that if you're not used to shag cut, it's like a real weird pressed and then ribbon cut after it's been pressed. But if you like Englishes, it's got everything that you're going to want in an English, except for the great big huge price tag. And it doesn't quite have that medicine cabinet smell when you first open it. So here's the reason why Phil was bugging me to put out a blog of me reviewing tobaccos. I use, when I first started, 3 pipes. 3 different pipes. When I first started, it was a Meerschaum, a Cobb, and a Briar, so that I could taste the differences between which one I could give a suggestion of, hey, if you're really going to be smoking this blend, I think you should try it in this pipe over this pipe. And then he was amazed because I turned right around and I also did a cigar like the very next day. And he was like, wait, people who smoke pipes and are willing to literally put in that kind of work on a pipe review, they don't smoke cigars. And I was like, I smoke more cigars than I do pipes. And then he was really freaked out when I showed him pictures. And at some point, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to find some of those pictures and bring them up on my tablet and then show them to y'all here on a live feed. What I can do with a cigar ash, like smoke the whole cigar and still have the ash on there from the very beginning. Vanilla cream is pretty good. I don't mind the vanilla cream. Hi, Max. Hi, Max. Neighbor's dog. It's okay, Max. It's okay. Well, I was trying to get her to stay over here and bark at me, but...
Yeah, thank you. Good try, but...
Good luck. So vanilla cream, pretty good. Pretty good. I like vanilla cream. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to say my favorite... Okay, I'll give two. My absolute favorite of the vanillas. First vanilla that I like the best would be Creme Brulee. Also by Sutliff. There's that little bit of a honey texture in the back notes that some people aren't going to be able to find it and some people will. But it keeps it from just being like more vanilla, more vanilla, more vanilla. Which, look, you can do vanilla without having it to be a jackhammer worth of vanilla hitting you in the face every 3 seconds. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. And then the Lane Dark Red, which is a cherry vanilla. I think that the cherry rounds out the vanilla and the vanilla rounds out the cherry so that you don't get stuck one side or the other without it evening out. Right, so you're right there with me. With the creme brulee, you still get that, you still get a nice, good vanilla, and it comes through and it's steady. But it's not going to just keep slapping the crap out of you with that. Whereas, like vanilla custard. I'm going to decline at this point, but my wife's going to get pissed at me. But yes, if I had to choose between so y'all heard that phone? Sorry. No, it's my wife. She'll be pissed at me. I know she will be. I'm going to hear about it here in a little bit. But I told her what I was up to. She should have expected it. But yeah, that'd be my two favorite vanillas.
Who the actual fuck are these people across the street?
What's the deal?
I said, who the actual fuck are these people across the street?
I don't know
I've
realistically.
never seen that car there before.
I don't know realistically. Somebody got out of a car. Their dog got out, was running up and down. The dog came up this way. I tried to distract the dog so that they could get a hold of him. That's about as much as I know. You were calling me about that? And as far as the amount of people that go in and out of that house, it's ridiculous. Part of the reason I don't mind sitting out here, because then everybody knows I'm out here. Right here at the Red Door Studio. So yeah, I've got a little bit of a gurgle. Got a little bit of color change where I've expected it to, which is good, because that's what I wanted it to do. Got a whole bunch of bird's eye. And I got grain patterns that don't make sense at all. But that's okay. Well, I'm getting pretty close to the bottom here. Not bad for a break-in. Definitely hard time sanding with the grain on pipes, especially when the grain is bird's eye. How do you sand bird's eye and with the grain? Now over here is pretty easy. You either go side to side or up and down, depending upon if you were trying to cross grain or with grain. Pretty much the same right in here. But both sides, all the way through, are bird's eye. Oh, I guess it's pretty easy to do on top and bottom also. Simon also has those sanding belts. So he's got the full setup for doing pipes. I'm not saying that that's good, bad, or indifferent, but if you're wondering why you can't keep up with Simon and his level, he started off with a workshop that was pretty much full to begin with. And then the other thing you got to be considerate of and concerned with is, are you using a high enough grit for when you're actually going with or against the grain? If you're going against the grain, you definitely want to go higher grit. You get to those 3000 grit, you're more polishing than sanding. I have not tried micro mesh as of yet. Kirk, I do understand that that is a possibility, and I watch for it, but I've got no specific proof one way or the other. So, Dingus, micro mesh is kind of like steel wool, but made specifically for wood. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've actually seen it or used it. I've seen it and used it, I just don't have any. And I like what that 3000 grit paper does a little better, in my opinion. Okay. There's a lot of wood carvers out there that never get any higher than 800. And I'm telling you from right now experience, 800 feels like a baby's butt smooth. It's awesome. 3000 feels like glass. So as I'm getting towards the bottom of the bowl here, don't get me wrong, 12,000 grit is pretty extensive, but it's that weird, as of right now, I'm nowhere near needing anything that fine. Let me figure out how to get all the tool marks off of my pipes before I'm saying that they're ready to go. And let me learn how to quit filing with enough left on there so that when I sand, I don't end up with certain flaws. Now, it has nothing to do with I'm never going to do it. I didn't say that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. It has more to do with, at my present level of making pipes, there is absolutely not a true point to me going to that fine of a grit when I'm still trying to learn how not to leave, for example, let's see if I can get it to tool marks. Don't worry, yes, I knew this tool mark was going to be there, but I didn't see that little, and I mean, you get right up close to it, you can see that it's a file mark. And you can see right here, if you're really close, there's some file marks that go this way. And let's see, right here, there's some file marks going side to side. Oh, and right down there, that's a file mark. And I need to learn how to spot those and get those off of there before I get to the point where I'm dying and thinking, hey, yeah, this is good. But I also need to stop early enough with certain files and then go to other files and then go to sandpaper and then another sandpaper and then another sandpaper until I can get. But I need to learn how to stop. And I'm still in that stage where I'm learning a lot. My learning curve is still very high right now. As it more flattens out, because I'm not learning as much, I definitely see that I will be going from a certain level and going up in my tooling to another certain level. And that has to do, again, with, like I said, how close am I to an actually truly what I would call finished product. And what this pipe has taught me is there is no way I'm ever going to be able to thank Mike at Briar Blues enough for sending me this pipe and letting me believe in any way, shape, or form that I should just be able to power through this in a couple of days. Because it taught me a lot of things, and one of them is patience. But yeah, so it's not that I'm not going to go with the micro mesh at present, but to put out any kind of money for micro mesh, which will not get me any closer to a finished product at present, because I am still so far away from actually having a truly good enough pipe that I'm going to be saying, you know what, I'm pretty badass. Now, some people are going to look at this pipe and go like, damn, that's pretty badass. And I'm going to look at this pipe and I'm going to be more critical than anybody else on the planet, because I am always going to see every flaw. And I am always going to see every ding and every scratch. And I'm always going to see everything that's wrong with this pipe. And that's why I'm finishing it early, to keep it as a constant reminder that I'm not perfect. I am not the best at everything I do. I don't have to be the best at everything I do. Sure, I want to be, but it's just, I don't have to be. I don't have to be a know-it-all. I don't have to know everything. Now, if we were to go up and down my street and everybody was to ask everybody else, who's the one real bad guy on the whole street? they'd all point me out. I'm really good at it. But every time anybody else needs any help up and down my street, you know, the first place they stop is right here in front of my house, and they're like, hey, I need a little help doing something. All right, let's do it. We one time had some people move in, and yes, they were actually dealing drugs here in the neighborhood. And it didn't last long. We figured out how to make sure that they would expose themselves. So they did. The police took care of it. James, I swear, if I ever figure out how to do these things perfectly with just the tools I've got, I will scrap the whole idea of getting a wood lathe and everything else. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still thinking seriously. I just go ahead and need to get a wood lathe and do this stuff right. Now, is that the only right way to do things? No, I'm not saying it's the only right way to do things. Now, I get to the wood lathe stage, you better believe I'm going to get some micro mesh. Because what that machine can help me do in a couple of seconds that I won't be able to do in 5 hours with micro mesh. Will I still be able to turn out some decent product? I bet I will. Because I know a few things, and I'm learning. First pipe. Let's remember, first pipe. And I used what I learned on this pipe while I was working on this one to work on a second one. So while the second one is not like hugely better, it's a lot better. You know, one of the first things I actually learned was keep it simple, stupid. Why did I have to make this pipe, which has got to be the hardest pipe that I will probably ever make? Why did I have to go for a slightly paneled with an extra piece that doesn't need to be there, with legs that sit out to make sure that it was a sitter? I didn't have to do any of this. I could have gotten away with all kind of different things and done this a whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. But I did learn a lot of what not to do. And I might come back and redo something like this. I might seriously come back and just completely make a whole crap ton of these. I don't see a way to do this on a lathe. I might be able to make some of the lines a little smoother and a little tighter and better maintained. But I'm going to have to think about it before I would ever even attempt it again. I mean, the weirdly not side by side correct bowl. The angle on this side does not match the angle on this side. The lines don't match almost anywhere. And I'm smoking it and I'm happy as hell about it because it's mine. I did it. I made every mistake on this thing. I learned more by making all these mistakes than I ever would have trying to put out a fully classic shape on the first shot. So I put out a pretty close to classic shape on the second shot. And applied everything I learned here to that one. Don't worry, we'll be seeing that one. Howdy back. I thought you were Jose Manuel Cavendish. And yes, Dingus, that is the right. That is the point. If I woke up 5 weeks ago, back when I first got this, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to carve a pipe. And the next day, I produced a perfect pipe. Well, then I'd be selling it. I wouldn't be smoking it. But no, I got this. And I thought about it. And I took a bunch of measurements. And I learned what's important. I learned what's not. I learned what's hard to do. I learned what's difficult to do. And I learned what's unreasonably hard to do, and so I shouldn't do it again. I would need new underwear. They would need to say Calvin Klein. I would also need to have a DeLorean and something to produce 121 gigawatts of electricity. Because the only way I'm waking up and first thing I'm doing is producing a perfect pipe on my first shot is I'm going to have to go back in time, and I'm going to have to make sure that the piece of burl, which is the root mound mass that is in the ground, doesn't have this big old crack of a sand pit here and this big old moon rock of a sand pit on this side. I would also have to go back and actually learn how to make a lot of these pipes. James, I agree with you totally. I fought this the whole way. Did everything I could to make it exactly what I wanted it to be. And I did okay. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. But had I not put this piece in And had I not tried to do these funky things here, and had I just gone for rounded, I could have produced a much prettier pipe first time. Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have been working with knives. I should have been working with files. But I had all of that to learn. So the pipe does not smoke hot. I'm like pretty close to the bottom of this pipe. I'm tamping and packing it in to try and get all the way down so I got a decent little carbon layer. Oh yeah, this has as much character as Groucho Marx. Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton combined. Go ahead, look up those and you will see all the character you need. Followed in with a little bit of, I don't get no respect. Y'all remember Groucho Marx, I believe, was the one with the cigars, black and white movies, way back in the day. Buster Keaton, stuntman, did all the crazy things way back in the day. Charlie Chaplin, yeah. Classic stuff. Level of humor, way through the roof. Believe me, I understand their level of genius. Some of their stuff was so far ahead of their time. Buster Keaton especially, way before his time. He's like the granddad of parkour, which is the free running things where people do all the crazy jumps and flips and running across things that they shouldn't be able to. Long smoke, yeah, but it's got an extremely big bowl for a pipe this size. This one would be good for a long smoke competition, but the next one's going to be even better. Because the next one has a bowl that's bigger around and is actually deeper. Because where this one is basically the same size as one of my good sized corn cobs. The other one is actually just a little bit smaller than my gigantic corn cob. A long smoke competition next Saturday. But some people are so good at those. It's like they practice. And to be fair, unless somebody is measuring out the exact same amount of tobacco for each and every pipe smoker, so that even the biggest pipe gets the same amount as the smallest pipe, then really those things can be so unfair. All right, James, you take care. We will definitely see you again some other point. And here my phone just told me that it's down to 15% power. I knew I didn't start with a full battery, and here I've been on almost 2 hours. So I think I'm going to also call it a day, or at least a portion of the day. I've got more work to do. Still got to wipe it down with some alcohol before I put a nice little shellac layer on it. And I will say that I think it has darkened up. All right, so everybody, and I'm not sure who all's still here, but there was Steph and Jose and Kirk and Furniture. Oh, I've lost you up here somewhere. Dispassionate Furniture. By the way, welcome, sir or ma'am, and so much glad that I could have you in today. And Boris and Jose Manuel Cavendish. And yes, I'm still looking at flights into Santiago at some point. And Ron Hardcrackers Ward. Loved having you here, sir. Glad to have you around. Now, anybody who's not been following along, y'all throw some subs in there if you can, or not, as it works out. Y'all try to take care of each other as best you can, and take care of yourselves also, because we all know that's the only way you're going to be any good to do anything else, is if you're good to yourself. Oh, come on, Jose. You don't have to do that for me. You really don't have to do it for me. I will look at it. I will look at it a lot. But right now, I'm not in a position where I'd be able to pay you for it. So I'd feel bad about that. But I'm going to enjoy looking at your artwork. I know I will. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of that on your videos. As always, everybody, please take care of yourselves and have a great day. And remember, as always, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care, and I will see you soon.